Hi everyone, my name is Javier Velásquez. I'm the developer of the BEM Gamification Framework and co-founder of Azahar Games, a board game publisher and free-to-play a gamification consultancy company. In this project called Biobots, owned by the British Council in alliance with the Ministry of Technology and Communications of Colombia, I worked with a team of impressive people like Lina Parra, David Castañeda, Lorena Rivera, Natalia Bedoya, Santiago Salazar, and Oscar Arevalo from Azahar, and Saúl Cáceres, Marcela Ortiz, David Vallejo, Oscar Barrios, and Lorena Molina from the British Council, in designing an offline strategy to develop computational thinking skills on kids from rural Colombia ages 5 to 10. This project was built under the umbrella of the Green Tick, now Green Code, a video game developed to teach computational skills to high schoolers in Colombia. The problem was that it was not reaching rural areas because of technological restraints. The British Council needed a highly durable offline game that would allow teachers to work with the students on computational skills that could be transferable to their daily problems. To solve this problem, we designed not a simple board game, but an analog game engine that would allow teachers to use prefab or create their own scenarios using unfolding mechanics. We drew inspiration on computational and game engines like Scratch and Unity to understand how to create an escalating game that would incorporate more complex problems as learners advance in the program. The game was inspired on Green Code as well as in board games that implemented programming mechanics like Robo Rally and Cold Express. We also drew inspiration in analog game engines like Time Stories and Dungeons and Dragons. From there, we created a game scenarios with both competitive and collaborative goals, where players would first build and then interact with the territory board to solve ecological problems like cleaning rivers, reallocating endangered species, and more. The game is built through scenarios, each one with 1 to 3 levels of complexity that were structured in a way that would teach teachers not necessarily familiar with computational thinking how to work the problem with their students. The scenario rules were written both in human and computational language to help the kids get familiarized with algorithmic thinking, logic, depuration, debugging, pattern recognition, and simple arithmetic thinking. While the rules were explained to the students in human language, they are written on the blackboard in computational language as quick guides. These rules could begin with simple if statements like, if your biobot passes through water, the player must say glue glue, to really complex problems with multiple moving elements, switches, memory storage, functions, parameters, variables, and more. While the original request made to us was for one game to help students practice simple skills, we delivered a whole system with 15 pre-designed scenarios and where students can even design their own scenarios because we noticed that many students learned computational skills to create their own games. The game was tested several times with the target population, which always rated the game over 4 in a scale to 5, regardless of gender. We wanted the game to be inclusive and that objective was met. All the students reported wanting to have the game in their institutions and wanting to play again. We tested different levels of complexity as people worried the game was too advanced for the target ages. But we demonstrated the neuroplasticity of the kids' brains and how they could appropriate complex rules in a matter of minutes. A British Council expert on computational thinking even said that he'd never seen a project like this one and that it was the first of its kind. We had to design the workshops for teachers as we found teachers were worried of their self-efficacy trying to implement the game in their classrooms. While workshops for the teachers were always a core element of the program, we gamified the learning experience for the teachers as well, and they learned by playing and interacting with each other. Right now, the game has been played by over 100 teachers and 2,000 students, and will reach the target of 700 teachers and 14,000 students by the end of this year. The game includes exercises to apply computational thinking concepts in their real lives and a complete guide for the teachers to help them evaluate the performance of their players and know if they are ready to advance to the next scenario. I was personally in charge of the playtesting and could see and hear students react in real time and in post-game interviews. Students reported being able to learn computational language. I have learned what is a function and an algorithm, understanding how to solve problems. It was hard, but I managed to get to the goal. Understanding the value of errors and debugging. I was trying to avoid increasing my errors counters, so I was trying to avoid making the same mistakes. And even learning soft skills. We learned about collaboration and our impact in the ecosystem. For me, it was especially interesting and rewarding to see the younger kids struggling with laterality and spatial recognition and being able, through iteration and the help of their opponents, yes, their opponents, to solve the challenges of their scenarios. As this was one of the first projects for younger audiences I had to tackle as a gamification designer, it really tested my biases and preconceptions, and I reinforced the value of testing to get the game and learning experience right. While board games are usually designed by small teams, these required a big team of collaborators to make it happen, which is seen in the final result. We even designed ideas for possible game expansions to include more complex concepts like listeners and event managers, and teachers are talking about using the game even with high schoolers and in urban areas. This project required over 6 months in the making by a big team of really invested and inspiring people, and we couldn't be prouder of making a game that will have a real-life impact in the students all over Colombia. Thank you.